New and first the headlines. His Excellency the Minister of Health affirms that the lockdowns and preventive measures contribute in limiting the COVID-19 cases and announces the number of vaccinated people exceeded 1.26 million people. Royal Oman Police affirms that there will be control checkpoints between governorates and patrols within the wilayas to implement COVID-19 Supreme Committee instructions. And the Ministry of Health reports 15 deaths and 1,453 cases of COVID-19. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, confirmed that the closures and adherence to procedures contribute to a decrease in coronavirus infections. At the 25th press conference of the Supreme Committee dealing with COVID-19, His Excellency said that the vaccine doses received until yesterday amounted to 1,936,830 doses. He also stated that the number of vaccinated people exceeded 1,266,293 people, which represents 36% of the total targeted group. His Excellency added that the vaccination drive has covered 36% of the target groups, aiming to immunize 65 to 70% of the target groups with at least a dose of COVID-19 vaccines by the end of August. His Excellency Qais bin Mohammed Al Yusuf, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion, stated during the press conference that the first release of the emergency loans for the small and medium enterprises will be after Eid al-Adha. He added that the applications for emergency loans reached 3,200. The applications will be filtered out based on the results of the field visits. He also added that a special team will work on the details of the decisions and a dedicated intergovernmental operation room will handle any inquiry around the clock. His Excellency the Minister affirmed that the Supreme Committee prioritizes economic factors and its effects on citizens and works on mitigating damages to the minimum. His Excellency also affirmed that all decisions take into account reducing lockdowns period to minimize the impact on small and medium-sized enterprises. His Excellency Engineer Isam bin Saud Al-Zajjali, Chairman of Muscat Municipality, said that companies that provide essential services and utilities like health services, cleaning, potable water and gas delivery services will be allowed to operate during the total lockdown after getting clearances from the concerned authorities. His Excellency added all slaughterhouses will be functional during the total lockdowns except for Amirat and Seep slaughterhouses, which will not operate during the lockdown period. From his side, Lieutenant General Assistant Inspector General of Police and Customs for Operations said the lockdown period includes checkpoints among governorates and security presence within the wilayas to ensure the implementation of the Supreme Committee's decisions. Humanitarian and exempted cases will get special considerations. He added that there will be some flexibility in rules for people owning farms and livestock yards during the full lockdown. A 24-hour center will be opened to manage this operation starting from the 16th of July. That includes representatives from Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion, Ministry of Tourism and Heritage, municipalities and transport sectors, in addition to Royal Oman Police. He urged all to cooperate with police personnel as these measures came to protect the health or the public health. At the press conference, Dr. Ahmed bin Salim Al-Mandri, the Regional Director of the World Health Organization for the Eastern Mediterranean, stressed that the measures taken by the Sultanate are necessary and sound to protect lives and the health sector, despite the fact that these measures might be painful for the individuals and the whole society for its social and economic impacts. He pointed out that many countries had taken partial and full lockdown based on the epidemiological situation for each country. He said that the pandemic is a challenge for the whole world and all countries should work together to face it. The Ministry of Health announced 15 deaths and 1,453 new cases of COVID-19 in the Sultanate. It also registered 2,413 recovered cases. This brings the total number of positive COVID-19 cases to 281,688 cases in the Sultanate. The Ministry of Health pointed out that the total number of COVID-19 fatalities is 3,371. The total number of recovered cases in the Sultanate reached 250,564. The ministry also pointed out that 150 cases were hospitalized over the past 24 hours, as the total number of current hospitalized COVID-19 infected patients stands at 1,447. Of them, 494 are in intensive care units. The national vaccination campaign continues in various wilayas and governorates of the Sultanate. In the wilaya of Ja'lan Bani Bu Hassan, the percentage of vaccinated people reached more than 50% of the current targeted groups, who are 18 years and above. The vaccination center witnessed a high turnout of visitors from both genders, which reflects the community awareness about the importance of getting the vaccine. The medical team visited rural and remote areas in coordination with volunteers to vaccinate people in such areas and raise their awareness. The medical team also advised people of Ja'lan Bani Bu Hassan to get vaccinated as soon as possible and assured them about the safety and efficacy of the vaccines. Sharqiya Aviation confirmed that it will take delivery of its first 5-bladed Airbus H145D3 helicopter in September this year. More details in the following report.
The first of its kind helicopter in the Middle East will join the fleet of Sharqiya Aviation, which is the first commercial operator of helicopter services in the Sultanate. The new 5-bladed Airbus H145D3 helicopter will support the expansion of Sharqiya Aviation fleet to provide aviation services for oil and gas operations, offshore medical evacuations, and many more.
We started with the H125, which is, you can see behind me here. And we are expanding our fleet. Hopefully by September we should receive the next generation, the H145 helicopter, which will be a bigger helicopter than this one. And it will take more passengers and will give us more freedom to carry more passengers and to expand our fleet and to do more jobs which are at the moment limited with a single engine, as you can see we have here.
The 5-bladed Airbus helicopter carries up to 8 passengers and 2 captains, which is customizable. The new helicopter will begin its operations in Duqm with the emergency medical aviation services.
The type of services we have is the city tours and the private transfer. As per the city tour services, we have the coastal trip, which starts from Muscat Bay in Qantab and then goes through Muscat, the Souq, and then Corniche and Port Sultan Qaboos, and also Al Alam Palace and Al Bustan, and then back again to Muscat Bay. The other one extends to Al Qaram, the Grand Mosque and the Opera House, and then back to Muscat Bay. The other kind of service is the private transfer, which is more flexible, where the passenger could choose the timing, the takeoff point and the landing point. A lot of customers use this kind of service to go to Jabal Akhdar, Jabal Shams, and also Badiya and other places.
Sharqiya Aviation operates on a daily basis around the country. It provides a wide range of services, including load lifting services, city tours, night flights, oil and gas operations, quick transfer of tools, medical evacuations, and private transfers. So far, the aviation company has managed to fly around 120 trips, carrying around 450 passengers. Al-Sharqiyya Aviation constantly updates its fleet to provide reliable offshore and onshore aviation services throughout the country. Salih bin Khalfan al-Rahbi, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
Oman Air has joined the International Congress and Convention Association, becoming an official airline partner for the Middle East. More details in the following report.
Oman Air, the national carrier of the Sultanate, declared its collaboration with the International Congress and Convention Association (ICCA), becoming an official airline partner for the Middle East as part of the ICCA's Regional Travel Partnership Program. As the newest member to the program, Oman Air brings 5-star COVID-19 safety and network connectivity across the Middle East to association meetings professionals so they can reconnect with colleagues and work towards reviving face-to-face in-person meetings in the post-pandemic landscape. Oman Air and its division Oman Air Holidays proudly display the Safe Travel stamp from the World Travel and Tourism Council (WTTC). In March this year, Oman Air received the Skytrax 5-star COVID-19 airline safety rating and the Skytrax 5-star COVID-19 lounge safety rating at Muscat International Airport. It is worth mentioning that Oman Air flights are departing on time. For flights operating during the lockdown period, passengers and those dropping them off or picking them up are allowed to travel to the airport. Passengers should ensure that they always carry a printed copy of travel tickets along with all applicable travel documents and valid ID in the event that they are asked to present them to the relevant authorities. Before their next flight, passengers can check the website omanair.com for the latest travel updates, restrictions, and COVID-19 health and safety advisories. For the Sultanate of Oman Television, Salih bin Khalfan al-Rahbi.
Still to come in our news bulletin. The heat wave in Kosovo hits the occupants in a bear sanctuary. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. Iraq has started construction work in Khor al-Zubair on what is slated to be the region's largest immersed tunnel. The underwater tunnel will have 6 lanes and a separate emergency lane and will be used to transport cargo and goods from all over the world. The tunnel is being built to boost export capacity, but completing it will depend on securing funding for the project. The 2.5-kilometer-long tunnel project was awarded to South Korea's Daewoo Engineering and Construction in 2019 at a cost of $86 million. Once complete, the underground tunnel will link Iraq's key commodities ports, the Qasr port and the Fao port, which is also under construction by Daewoo, to the country's highway network. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned today of an increased threat of terror attacks in Afghanistan as the U.S. completes its withdrawal from the country and the Taliban continues its advance across the country. Speaking in Vladivostok at the Far Eastern Federal University, he expressed concern about the increasing security risk not only in Afghanistan but also in Tajikistan, Russia's ally. He blamed the Afghan government for making the Taliban more hostile and for creating a vacuum for groups such as the Daesh group. Russia has already pledged to help secure the border between Afghanistan and Tajikistan, where Russia has one of its largest military bases. The European Union today handed down 875 million euros in fines to 4 major German car manufacturers, saying they colluded to limit the development and rollout of car emission control systems. EU antitrust chief Margrethe Vestager had this to say.
Today, the Commission took a decision against 5 car manufacturers, Daimler, BMW, as well as Volkswagen, Audi and Porsche, which are part of the Volkswagen Group. The Commission imposed a total fine of 875 million euros. These car manufacturers illegally colluded to restrict competition in the area of emission cleaning technologies for diesel. All citizens must be able to trust that car manufacturers compete with one another. Also, when it comes to reducing harmful emissions from the cars. But these companies did not meet this expectation. For over 5 years, the car manufacturers deliberately avoided to compete on cleaning better than what was required by EU emission standards.
London Heathrow is to begin fast-tracking fully vaccinated passengers arriving at the airport under a pilot scheme from later this month. Here is a report.
Heathrow Airport is to begin fast-tracking fully vaccinated passengers arriving at the airport under a pilot scheme starting later this week. Fully vaccinated travellers of all nationalities will be able to present proof of vaccination in a digital or paper form at check-in. To help prove vaccination status can be quickly and easily checked away from the border and allow safety entry to the UK.
That for fully vaccinated travellers, the requirements for green and amber list countries are the same. To be clear, a full vaccination means 14 days have passed since your final dose of the vaccine. And it's also important to note that health matters are devolved. So decision-making and implementation may differ across UK administrations.
The programme will involve travellers coming into London Airport from selected destinations in Europe, the US and the Caribbean on British Airways and Virgin Atlantic flights. This comes as the travel industry steps up pressure on the government to allow quarantine-free travel from destinations that remain on the amber list under COVID-19 traffic light travel rules.
Oh, it will make a huge, huge difference. If you bear in mind that many of our customers booked their holiday in 2019 for 2020, and then, of course, we know what happened in summer of 2020. So they have put their holiday back to summer 2021. And I am so, so delighted for them. We have hundreds of thousands of people who are due to travel this year. And they have gone through the pain of keeping their fingers crossed and hoping for the best. And whilst there are some conditions, this is great news for our customers and great news for the travel industry.
The government has indicated that the quarantine requirement will be dropped later this summer for people who have been double vaccinated, or maybe as early as the 19th of July, the date when coronavirus restrictions will be lifted. Du'aat Mater, Oman TV, London.
A heat wave in the Balkans is becoming simply unbearable for some ferry residents. Temperatures have hit highs of 36 degrees Celsius, and workers at a bear sanctuary in Kosovo are doubling their efforts to cool the animals. Toland Hoksa, a bear sanctuary worker, said they are giving them as much fruits as possible, frozen fruits, sprinkling them with water, and also very often changing the water in their pool. Warnings were also issued for forest fires, which are a common problem over the summer months all over the Balkans. The region is no stranger to summer heat waves, but they usually happen in August. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main headlines once again. His Excellency the Minister of Health affirms that the lockdowns and preventive measures contribute in limiting the COVID-19 cases and announces the number of vaccinated people exceeded 1.26 million people. Royal Oman Police affirms that there will be control checkpoints between governorates and patrols within the wilayas to implement COVID-19 Supreme Committee. And the Ministry of Health reports 15 deaths and 1,453 cases of COVID-19. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night and stay safe.